Radio A in Texas, USA. Welcome to the In-Wheel Time Show, your all things automotive car talk show. On today's 2-hour program, we'll take a look at Jeeps and the Jeep culture. We'll also have new vehicle reviews of the Jeep Wrangler Diesel and the Dodge Charger Scat Pack. We'll also have our weekly Ram Tracks and Jeep Trails features, along with this week's automotive news. That and more just ahead on another jam-packed 2-hour in-wheel time car show for Saturday, June 27th, 2020. Howdy. Along with Mike Out of This World Mars and King Conrad DeLong, I'm Don Armstrong. So glad that you could join us today. We really appreciate it. This week before the 4th of July, we got a big show planned for that as well. That's going to be next week. But in the meantime and in between time, Mr. Mars, how's your week been?
It has been a
very interesting week. Mars,
yes,
Mars thought he lost his wallet.
No, he did lose it. He did lose it for a while.
No.
Yeah, but he lost it on his desk.
Yeah, man couldn't find it. So what does that say about Mike's desk?
Oh, my gosh. I mean, we're talking canceling credit cards and the whole bit. Because
And
that's
then
how,
he found the wallet after he canceled all the credit cards.
Oh, I wasn't going to tell anybody that.
Well,
It's bad enough my wife knows that.
Credit cards and debit cards, only to find out that Becky only had $18 cash.
Exactly. And no access to the ATM.
So, and how has your day gone since that?
Oh, let me tell you, I was on the way over here this morning. Everything was running good down Interstate 10. You know, we were talking a week or so ago about traffic flows.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm coming down Interstate 10. I got my cruise set on 80 miles an hour.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I got a car in front of me. We're in the $50 lane. Right beside me, I'm easing around a truck that's a little bit slower. And in the outside lane, there is an 18-wheeler. And I'm checking my rearview mirror, and there is a car coming up on me so fast. So fast, he scared me. I started looking for a way out, and I really thought it was a police car when I first looked.
A white Challenger Hellcat?
No, it wasn't a Hellcat, but, I mean, it was, I mean, he come up on me so hard that whenever he finally figured out he needed to slow down, you could see the nose of the car almost diving.
He's throwing out the anchor.
He got my attention real quick.
So you just grannied along
I was awake. I was awake the rest of the morning on the way over
No
here.
doubt. Conrad?
Oh, I had a great week. But just hot and sticky. And
It is hot and sticky, and now we've got this whole corona thing going again.
seemed like every time I got out of the truck to do something, by the time I had to go get back in it and get some product to deliver, it started raining so hard you couldn't see straight.
It has been an odd week.
Yeah, it was a wet week, let's say.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, we've got a great show lined up for you today. As we said, we're going to talk about Jeeps. Is Mr. Morrison ready for us?
We're getting the audio squared away.
Okay, very good. Well, at any rate, so we're going to focus today on Jeeps. You know, we have been sponsored by Jeep for years and years and years. And we're not doing the show because it's been sponsored by Jeep. It's not that. It's that Jeep has got its own culture.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah.
And passionate owners.
Absolutely. Now, I do know somebody that has a sport model, which is the base entry level. And I asked her, the gal that I work with, I said, do you ever take the top off the Jeep? No, I don't do that. Why not? Well, I really don't need to. It's too hot and it's a pain.
And then Randy and Jen, they've got the top off and the doors off all the
they,
time.
They don't ever put it on.
Yeah,
Exactly. So there's all the way from people that don't take the top off the Jeep to all those that never have the top on the Jeep. And everything in between. Lots of clubs around, and of course, us being close to the beach, it's always a popular vehicle down at the beach. So, as we talk about it, why don't we talk about it with the head of the Jeep brand? His name is Jim Morrison. He joins us live now from the great state of Michigan. Jim, good morning to you, and thanks for joining us. Oh, my.
Maybe not.
Well, we thought we were going to talk to him,
we had
but
the sound there,
yeah.
Michael.
And
Is that any better?
How's this?
That's
There
much
you
better.
go.
Bingo. You got us.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yes.
we can. I see that
All
you're
right.
at the ranch, and I assume that you've got a Wrangler up there. Actually, you probably got every one of the Jeep brand vehicles that you kind of like a lot up there, I would imagine. Huh, Jim?
Yeah, there's actually a couple of Wranglers and a Gladiator in the driveway.
Now-
Actually, a Grand Cherokee too. So
There you
yeah,
go. I
yeah,
can't imagine.
all of my kids and my kids' girlfriend and yeah, so it's neat.
Well, I'll tell you what, we really appreciate you joining us. I hope the weather is a little bit better than it is down here. It's about 100% humid and 90 degrees outside.
And the Sahara dust.
Yeah, we just went through a bit of a cold front here last week. Really kind of hovered around the 70s, but it's shooting back up to 90 here today.
Okay. Well,
So it's a couple of big rainstorms.
yeah.
Actually washed away all my grass seed. I got to start again.
Well,
But
it gives you something to do besides the jeeping.
yeah, that's the neat thing is, this whole idea of getting back out in freedom, everything from take your top off. I went to pick up pizza last night. Couldn't wait to take the top off the Jeep and just, drive 10 minutes to get pizza. But I went wheeling with my boys a couple weekends ago at a off-road park here in Michigan, and the trailhead was packed. Everybody was just, the first weekend it was open, and finally people were able to get out in their Jeeps, and there's such a feeling of community and freedom and fun. It was great to get out, and everybody was being very respectful of distances and all that kind of stuff, but they were all having fun in their Jeeps, which was great to see.
Well, that's what it's all about. I mean, the Jeep lifestyle is just that. It is a lifestyle, and you can pick the lifestyle, but we're going to kind of focus in today on the Wrangler, because I think that the Wrangler really is the highlight vehicle of the Jeep brand that everybody knows.
It's the icon of the Jeep brand.
Yeah.
When you say Jeep, everybody sees Wrangler in their head, though there's a whole plethora of other vehicles that they offer, but the Wrangler is the one that everybody sees.
And, it was a couple of years ago that you came out with the JK model, the new one, and, you always manage to one-up yourself when you do a complete redesign, and, this particular Wrangler gets nothing but high marks, and there are significant changes. Why don't you go over a few of the most significant changes underneath the skin of the Wrangler for this current model year?
Well, I think that's the best thing about the Jeep brand is the connection with our customers, and whether it be talking to them on the trails or talking to them on the forums, or even talking to them sometimes in the grocery store parking lot. The Wrangler people are always, very connected to their vehicle, and we try to be very connected to them. And with that, we always have an idea of what we need to do to update it. So, it's a Wrangler. It's based on being the most capable four-wheel drive on the planet. So it became even more capable with the next generation. We improved the breakover, departure angles, the overall ground clearance. We gave it bigger tires, and then it's got a lot of open air freedom too. So we made the tops easier to deal with on a day-to-day basis, made the doors easier to come off as well, and all of those things you think of are very Wrangler centric stuff. But paying attention to what our customers are asking for, that's exactly what they wanted us to do. So we delivered that with the new Wrangler. And then, of course, the other thing that the customers were asking us for was even more capability, more torque, and more fuel economy. So we've just delivered that with the diesel. 29 miles per gallon and 442 pound-feet of torque. Man, that thing is just unbelievable off-road and on-road too.
Yeah, that EcoDiesel's something special. I've got a real love for anything diesel, and you guys really came to market with the right thing inside the Wrangler.
Yeah, and not only that, Jim, but I found out this week, because I just got out of a Jeep Wrangler diesel that I'm going to review here in a little while, and that diesel engine is specific for that Jeep. It's not one that's pulled out of another vehicle. That engine is made specifically for the Jeep Wrangler.
Yeah, the 3-liter is a nice proven engine, and it's been evolved to fit it in a Wrangler, and it was actually a little bit of an exercise to make it work. So it took a little bit of extra time to get it in there, but now that we've got it installed, it's been a real crowd pleaser, so to speak. And we've had a little bit of trouble getting our dealers stocked up with it, just with the timing, but we've been focusing on our customer sold orders, and we've been delivering those, and the customers that have them now are very, very happy with that engine. And I have to say, it's a great piece. You step on the gas and it just rips. and it's a really nice addition to the Wrangler, and a little bit of forward looking here. We're going to add that 3 liter to the Gladiator as well. So I'm looking forward to getting one of the pre-production Gladiators for me to drive here in my driveway here next week, and can't wait. It's a great addition to the Gladiator as well.
Well, I think that it's notable that the fact of the torque on the thing, that's what it's really all about. And I have to confess to you, Jim, the press vehicle that I had the diesel in it, and there was a little short break in traffic, and I was trying to get across the intersection, and I made the mistake of nailing it, and the thing burnt rubber. So I have to tell you, I didn't mean to do it, but it's got so much, it has so much torque. It's like a hot rod.
Yeah, it really is down in that low gear.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's 442 pound-feet of torque in a vehicle that is as light as a Wrangler. We built it because we wanted to be more capable, and that's what the enthusiasts were keeping, honest. They were like, "Oh, give us a diesel in the Wrangler, give us the diesel in the Wrangler," and you know what? They were absolutely right, because a Wrangler's got to be all about capability, which it delivers. In fact, I drove the Wrangler on the Rubicon Trail with the diesel here at the end of last fall, and it went up. I hate to say it, Cadillac Hill. It's a really steep climb up the Rubicon, and those that have been on it know it's probably the most incredulous trail you could find here in America. And I did it in high, 4 high. I didn't even need to put it in low. The Jeep had so much torque, it was just walking up the rocks, and people couldn't believe it. And anything, with that kind of torque, 442 pound-feet of torque, anything with that kind of torque usually had, a V8 swap in their Jeep, or, and would have multiple, jerry cans of gas just to even get them through the trail. We drove this Wrangler, and actually we had a Gladiator too, with the diesel. We drove it from Lake Tahoe to the trail, went all the way to the trail, through the trail, 2 days, and then back to Lake Tahoe, which is a 2-hour drive, and it still had half a tank of fuel.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
just unbelievable.
I'd read somewhere in some of the reviews, I was doing my research this week, and somebody mentioned that they were really concerned about the diesel and being able to control all of that torque on the trail. But because of the transmission and the gearing, all of the things that you guys, and attention to detail that you've placed on the actual drivetrain itself, they were concerned that it would not be able to be controlled the way that they wanted it to. But as it turns out, after they drove it, they said it's got more control than any of the other engines that you've got, and they were quite surprised at that.
Yeah, our engineers spend a lot of time with that detail, in 4 low, in 4 high, what the tip in is, how it feels, because you want to have a smooth, connection with the environment, and you want to make sure that the tip in and the Jeep goes, smoothly through, really normal events, or on the flat, or steep inclines. And the engineering team did a fantastic job integrating that engine.
So they were able to actually overcome people like Don Armstrong trying to get across the intersection and burning rubber accidentally with 442 pound-feet.
And I'll tell you, down here on the Texas Gulf Coast, we do a lot of mud, we do a lot of sand, we don't do a lot of rock. It's just not here.
Yes.
So I had a chance to drive the Wrangler with a diesel in it at one of your events late last year. And it made all the difference in the world, because of that torque, I could actually go and I didn't have to fight it so much and try and work so hard like I did with the V6, in the 3.6 in a Wrangler, trying to climb some stuff in Arizona the year before. And it really did, because of that torque, made things a lot easier. And I was able to go places that I would have been concerned otherwise.
And that's the beauty of a diesel, is it offers so much torque at low RPMs. You don't have to get a lot of RPMs in the engine to develop that kind of power at the tires. Yeah. And that's what the Jeep folks want, especially if they're going to do any off-roading. They don't want to have a high revving engine to create the power. They want that low speed torque.
Yeah. And it's got it.
You're
It's
absolutely
great.
right. It comes in low end and goes. The other advantage too is diesel's almost free right now. It's it's actually at the low point that I've seen in a long time with it was 260 here in Michigan last week. So, for a gallon of diesel, and that goes a long way, over 550 miles range in a Wrangler. It's
So,
incredible.
Jim, we're out of time for this segment. We're going to touch back with you in about 15 minutes, and I want to talk about the Jeep lifestyle. And I know that you've immersed yourself in a lot of clubs. You've gone the Rubicon Trail. You've done all of that, and you know these Jeep people. And I want to touch on that at the bottom of the hour. Are you good with that?
Yeah, no, that's fine. It's not just a Jeep T-shirt. We live.
Yeah,
With them too.
exactly.
So I got a hat too. So yeah,
I'm glad. We're glad to see that. Okay, Jim Morrison, thank you so much. We'll touch back with you here in about 15 minutes or so. We appreciate it. Jim Morrison, head of the Jeep brand. All right, just ahead, we're going to review the Jeep Wrangler Diesel, and we'd like to invite you to join us each and every Saturday for our live show, 10 a.m. to noon on Facebook and YouTube, and catch our podcasts on your favorite podcast channel. In Wheel Time continues after a quick break.
Man, I love my kids so much. I once sat for 3 hours in the cold rain to watch her soccer team lose by 18 goals.
I love my kids so much, I once used a tube to suck snot out of her stuffed nose at 3 a.m.
You win.
Love your kids? Love them enough to make sure they're in the right car seat. From toddlers to tweens, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat to find the right seat for their age and size. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
A social distancing tip.
While the CDC urges you to avoid close contact, like hugging or shaking hands, there are other non-physical ways to say hello. Wave, wink, use sign language, salute, smile, give the peace sign, throw up an air high five, do jazz hands. Remember, stay a minimum of 6 feet or 2 arms length away from others, and stay home if you can. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part, because we're all #alone together. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hey, thanks for joining us for today's In Wheel Time car show. Time now for our car review. And as I teased when I was talking to Jim Morrison, I had the opportunity to drive the new 2020 Jeep Wrangler. The available trim levels on the Wrangler are the Sport, that's the entry level. And then we have the Sport S, the Sahara, and the Rubicon. And then there's also a lot of sub-trim levels along with, it's a whole myriad of them. And if you're going to look at buying a Jeep, you need to do your homework because there's so many options out there. So our reviewed trim level is the Unlimited, which is the 4-door, the Sahara 4x4 with the 3-liter diesel engine. It's classified by the government as a small SUV. It's a Jeep Wrangler. It really is a class unto itself. How many passengers? Up to 5. Exterior changes from last model year. Complete redesign in 2018. Exterior features, well, it's old school in the fact that it is body-on-frame construction. And to have a real off-road SUV, you have to have a body-on-frame construction because you need that frame underneath it.
You need that rigid structure.
Yeah. It is the most off-roadable of all of the SUVs known to man. Fold-down windshield, all the standard stuff that you already know, removable doors. It has several tops, the hard top, the soft top, and a power top, which is what I had, and it depends on the trim level what you can get, whether you're going to get the 2-door, the 4-door, that sort of thing. But I had the power soft top, which was really cool because all you do is press the button and the cloth top rolls back.
Nice.
Makes it easy.
Did you not have that one?
No, huh?
Oh, yeah.
I had the hard top.
It's very cool. Classic 7-slot grill. It's called the Sky One Touch Power Cloth Top. It's a $4,000 option. But
worth every penny.
But if money's no issue and you don't like to get out there and wrestle with the top yourself, hey, this is the way to go, my friend. Interior highlights, weather-resistant controls, seating surfaces, and hose-out flooring. You can't beat it.
But that's the Jeep life, though, too.
It is. Uconnect screen, big, right on the top of the center stack. window controls are located on the center stack as well, which takes a little getting used to. They're not on the door because
you take the doors off.
That's right.
That's right.
You can have a 4-door or a no door.
And that Alpine sound system is killer.
Jams.
Connected up with that Uconnect system. 3-liter V6 turbo diesel. They also has a turbo 4 available and a gasoline V6 is available. We're talking about the new turbo diesel. 260 horsepower, but 442 whopping pound-feet of torque.
Wow.
That's it right there.
Which is 55% more torque than any of the gasoline engines. 8-speed automatic transmission. Tow rating is 3,500 pounds. The miles per gallon, 22 city, 29 highway for a combined of 25. I got 27.3 over 310.9 miles. What I liked about it, the mileage and that torque, baby.
Well, and Jim was talking about what the range of the vehicle is as well. He was saying the range of this is over 500 miles. I mean, you're talking about something you might only have to fill up once every 2 weeks.
Yeah, I was just going to say, every couple of weeks. Hey, it's a round trip to Dallas and Houston and back.
Oh, easy.
Yeah. Ride and handling, more car-like highway ride than pre-18 models. They really worked on that. And the ride is actually very good.
Yeah. Well, they're listening to the customer. They're listening to the Jeep customer, and that's what they're asking for.
So the base trim price on this particular is $38,645. The price is tested. Of course, this is all loaded up Sahara, $56,750. The base model price, you can get into a Jeep, the sport model, as low as $28,295. You want to get yourself immersed into the Jeep lifestyle and you want to buy a new one, hey, $28,295 will get you there.
And that's what a lot of people do if they're going to get a little more serious and they really want to put some body lift kits in it and really get into that, they start with that.
So, competitors, are there any?
No.
Not really.
I'm sorry.
So
No.
Ford is coming out with the Bronco as a 2021 model. It should be priced competitively. Obviously, nobody knows anything about it just yet.
But I don't think it's going to have the off-road capability a Jeep does.
So now where do you go? Okay, let's try the Toyota 4Runner. Can't take the doors off of it, but at least it is an off-road body on frame. So that one is $36,351 to get into. And I thought, well, okay, how about this Suzuki Samurai?
Do they still make that?
I don't think they've made it.
Actually, they do make it still. They've
But not
been
in the
making it
States.
since 1970, but Suzuki's out of business in the United States.
Oh, okay.
No, but you can find used ones, and some you can find for $2,500. I found one here in Houston that they're asking $9,900 for a used old Suzuki
That's more than it
Samurai.
was new.
Exactly.
You know, the only other thing I could think that could compare would be the Land Rover Defender. Because that's an off-roadable, but you're talking about something that starts in the upper 50s, low 60s.
And then, you know, and I read a story. There's some rumors going around that Toyota's thinking about bringing back the FJ.
Well, that'll be the third generation of FJ.
Well, it's a rumor.
Well, at any rate, so that's the review of the Jeep Wrangler Sahara with the diesel engine. I want to remind you.
I have one question.
Yes.
Did you get the Jeep Wave figured out? Because all the Jeep folks tend to give themselves a nod or a wave.
Yeah, well, all I got was a wave, one of those.
Okay.
And it didn't have any fingers involved
No,
in it whatsoever.
but
it was strictly a hey.
I know all the Jeep folks all acknowledge each other as they drive by.
Yep. Hey, be sure and check out our podcasts. They're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, iHeart Podcast, TuneIn, Google Podcast, and Podcast Addict. You can also catch our video stream on Facebook.com in Wheel Time and on YouTube/InWheelTime. Quick break right now. And as soon as I get it set up, because I was a little bit preoccupied and I didn't actually set up the next commercial break. So if you'll give me just a moment, I'll be able to do that.
So do we need to talk for a few seconds?
What about the car calendar?
Let me just say this, that I've got it now,
You're
so
getting
you
it
don't have to
figured out.
worry about it.
Well, we filled that time.
911, what's your emergency?
There's a train that just hit a car.
Sir, what is your location? Look around for a street sign, sir.
It's 8th and Orchard. 8th and Orchard.
Okay, very good. 8th and Orchard. Sir, help is on the way.
Why would he do that? The train still doesn't stop. You have to get there now.
At a railway crossing, even if the engineer sees you and hits the brakes, it can take a mile for the train to stop. And for you, that's too late. Stop. Trains can't. Paid for by NHTSA.
Hey, thanks again for joining us for today's In Wheel Time program. We're on the air every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon, and we sure appreciate you joining us today. Okay, let's talk about the car calendar and the racing calendar. Now, here in Texas, we've had to kind of scale back a lot of things because apparently COVID-19 has blossomed into the out of control thing.
Yeah,
and here in the Houston area where we're talking to you from, they've actually gone to code red here, code 1, which is like, okay, it's time to
adding some of the restrictions back on.
Yep.
Kind of forced masks and stuff as well. So,
yeah.
And with that, a lot of the car shows are still going to be going on, but they're asking everybody to park with a space between and really don't intermingle and keep your social distancing going. In Liberty, they're going to have the Liberty Street Rally on July 11th, downtown Liberty. Also on July 11th is the Tool Mart car show, and that's going to be at 13721 South Gessner.
The Tool Mart car show.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Harbor Freight. It's a tool store, but they've got a big, huge parking lot, and they're sponsoring this car show.
Okay.
Goes from 7 to 4. They're going to be giving out prizes and awards and stuff, so that'll be pretty cool. And of course, the Twin Peaks meet up in the Woodlands will be on July 26, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. And then racing coming and going. We're kind of getting back into some racing. Formula One starts next weekend. The Grand Prix of Indianapolis, which is the road course at Indianapolis, is next weekend.
Are they going to have fans there?
Well, I don't know if they're going to have fans there now, but they were going to have limited fan attendance, so they're not going to sell. It's not going to be full grandstands, but there'll be some. You got to think at Indy, it only seats like 250,000 people, so if they even keep it down to a couple of thousand people,
I was
going to
say,
fans.
talk about social distancing. You wouldn't even be able to go, hey, how you doing over there?
Right.
Be using flags.
And then in a couple of weeks, IMSA is going to be back at Sebring. They're going to be next weekend. They're going to be at Daytona. Indianapolis is going to be on the 12th. NHRA is going to be at Indianapolis on the 12th of July. And then Richard Tomlin and the Houston SCCA is going to be doing their autocross down at Greyhound Golf Park on the 12th as well. So if you're interested in taking your car out on a solo course, just again coned out in a big parking lot, go down there and check your car out.
When is that?
On the July the 12th, down at a Greyhound Golf Park, and it starts at 7 in the morning.
Is that a Saturday or Sunday?
I think that's a Sunday.
Oh.
Yeah, the 12th's a Sunday.
Well, now that I got the clutch fixed in the Corvette, might have to.
Well, it'd be worth a try. I mean, I would bring your air compressor as well because you're going to need to adjust your tire pressures as you go. We'll
got
be
it
talking
right there.
about we'll be talking about that in Conrad's Corner. Okay. So that's what's going on in and around racing and future events, and we'll talk about the calendar
Well, I
later.
did also want to mention to you is that, and you didn't ask, how did it go at the racetrack
I was
last
going.
Saturday?
It's actually the first thing on my list, but I knew you'd get us there.
Okay. You had that confidence in me?
Absolutely.
So,
nice save.
So, yeah.
See,
now, you don't have to prove it. It's
it is
okay.
the
We
first
know
thing
you
on the
forgot.
list.
But at any rate, Jeff and I went to Houston Motorsports Park last Saturday evening, had a great time, and I got to interview all of the winners from all the different categories of cars, and a great turnout, lots of fans.
Because you are the winner's circle reporter. You're there down there at the
right down there in the nitty-gritty.
In the nitty-gritty.
I love every moment of it. But I got a note from Gina because, that whole racing series, Texas Short Track Racing Series, is now under the NASCAR Home Tracks flag.
Congratulations.
And she told me that they're going, no fans in the stands, so they're going to have a race next weekend, but no fans. So it's going to be for the racers only.
So do you get to go?
I'm probably not going to.
As the interviewer?
No, I can't imagine.
The winner's circle?
We haven't talked about it, but I don't know why I would do that.
Because you can.
Free ticket. Hey, come on in. All right.
And you got to bring Jeff. He's your gaff.
He is.
Or GIF. What are you, Jeff?
5'11". He's 5'11". That's perfect. All right. Well, we're going to take another quick break. And we want to remind you that if you'd like to share your car-related info, all you have to do is send it to info@inwheeltime.com or through the In Wheel Time Facebook page. Up next on the In Wheel Time Car Show, we're going to rejoin Mr. Jim Morrison, the head of the Jeep brand. We're going to talk more about the Jeep culture. Stay with us.
It's 4 a.m., Monday, and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Is your business or company looking to stand out in a crowded advertising market? Looking to reach the real auto enthusiast? You found it. You're listening or watching In Wheel Time, and so are your fellow enthusiasts. The In Wheel Time Car Show now reaches 500,000, and we can put together a marketing plan that will engage them in your product, business, or service. To get the tires rolling, just shoot us an email to our marketing director, Jeff Zekin. His address is jeff@inwheeltime.com. Hey, thanks for joining us today for the In Wheel Time Car Show. And standing by is Jim Morrison, head of the Jeep brand. We're going to talk to him again. We'll also have our Jeep Trails feature, an inside look into the world of Jeeping, along with the stories making automotive news headlines this week. All that and more just ahead in this segment of the In Wheel Time Show. Howdy, along with Mike out of this world, Mars.
Hi, Mom.
And the computer genius that he is down there.
He's a computer genius, but he hasn't figured out to plug the power in. I got to plug the power in to keep the computer running. Otherwise, the computer reboots in the middle of the show.
I'm thinking that he's brought the little black cloud from his wallet loss from Neaterville all the way over here today.
Yeah, but it's still just over him, so I'm going to lean over this way so it doesn't get on me.
Exactly. Yeah, let that stink get on you.
All right, there we go. It looks like you got.
Yeah, but now I got to get Jim back.
Well, text him.
Oh my God, it's a comedy of errors over on that side of the table. So,
Mr. Perfect over here.
Listen, I am in every stinking way.
There he is. There he is.
I keep reminding myself of how perfect everything is in my world. Not. But at any rate,
but it's going perfect in the Jeep world.
It is going perfect in the Jeep world.
You know, they had accolades on the J.D. Power's initial quality survey as well. I thought they scored very, very well.
Yeah.
For the 2020 year model.
Yeah.
And you know, that says a lot about not just the engineers and the designers, but also says a lot about the production people as well. You know, they're taking their time to do it right.
Okay, are we ready now?
Yeah. Are you ready, Jim?
Is he there?
Yeah, he's there.
He's there, but I'm trying to figure out where the audio. We need audio.
Oh, my God. Well, you know, Jim, this is not our fault. It's all his. The guy there in the green shirt, he did this. And so we're just going to lay it on him. But at any rate, what'd you have for breakfast?
Well, Jeff brought kolaches. Very, very good.
Yeah.
And kolaches in Texas are different than kolaches are other parts of the world, because here it's about a sausage inside the pastry.
Yeah, and that's not it.
Other places it's a jelly or a piece of fruit inside of the
fruit
pastry.
filling. Yes, like
So
preserves or something. Yes, we can hear you now. Yes, we can hear you, Jim. And it's yes. So if you
I can hear you guys.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, so now joining us from Jeep FCA, the head of the Jeep brand, Mr. Jim Morrison, and we thank you for sticking with us through all of this. Mr. Mars didn't plug in the computer, and it went dead. So there's that. But at any rate, we're not going to talk about that. We want to talk about, we talked about the new Jeep Wrangler diesel. And now I want to kind of shift our attention a little bit, if you don't mind, and talk about the Jeep lifestyle. Because, Jim, back in the 70s, I guess there was a Jeep lifestyle, but I think really in the 80s and 90s, things started snowballing with the Jeep Wrangler mainly, and the Jeep lifestyle. And I know that you've been to a lot of events, public events, Moab, all of that sort of stuff, and you've had a chance to dive into the Jeep culture. And maybe you can do a better job at explaining it than me.
But the Jeep community is like no other automotive community, and if you think about it, what other group of people, really honor and salute each other, kind of with a wave, and then do stuff together, and just have the sense of community that you get with being part of the Jeep family. Of course, it's available, and kind of that feeling is part of everything from whether you're driving a Renegade or a Compass or a Cherokee or a Grand Cherokee, but it is really highlighted with the Wrangler and now the Gladiator folks, kind of all around and in and around the off-road community. The Wave, interestingly enough, it goes back to our military roots, and it's a little bit um, of a tale, but the idea of the U.S. military folks waving at each other so that they know that they are actually U.S. military driving the U.S. Jeep.
Friendlies.
And friendlies, so they don't realize that somebody else has ripped off the Jeep, and it's a nice subtle way that they kind of kept that quiet, and that's kind of all the way through the community here today. And whether you're off-roading in your Wrangler, or whether you're taking it to the grocery store, with with 3 or 4 kids in the car, it's just something that's still part of the culture. And I have to say, it just makes you feel good. When you have somebody wave at you and just kind of recognize that you're part of the family, it is kind of cool. But it's kind of started with its military roots, and now kind of boiled through its 4x4 culture. And it's something that nobody else has had. I mean, other manufacturers have tried over the years, and we'll see how we continue to grow. But it's incredible how that culture has grown. And in fact, breaking a little bit of news here for you, but we just had our second best Wrangler month ever here last month. With sales, and it's just a real illustration of the number of people that are working to kind of get outdoors and be free, take the top off, take the doors off, and just enjoy being part of the extended family with Jeep. And that's really kind of fun.
And Jeep, let me ask you, Jim, with the Jeep Wrangler in particular, how is manufacturing these days with the COVID outbreak? I mean, this has been a huge divot in everybody's lives, and including all of the guys working on the assembly line, gals too. How have you been able to keep up with demand, or have you?
Well, it's the guys in manufacturing and girls in manufacturing. They're built right here in Toledo, an hour and a half away from the home of the brand here in Michigan. And I have to say thanks to them. They're going in. They're working today, to try to keep up with the demand we have for Wrangler and Gladiator. But the manufacturing folks have really done it in a responsible way, though. So there's spacing of the line. So we've given the individuals that are working on the line more space. They actually have orange and yellow dividers between the people, and of course they have masks and glasses, and sometimes the shields, depending on what works best for the employee. But we've got a lot of spacing and all of the social distancing practices in place. We actually can measure the temperatures of the individuals as they come into the plant to make sure everybody's staying safe, and it's working pretty good so far. So need to say thanks for them working hard, getting into the plants every day and keeping the Wranglers rolling out the door.
And how about your suppliers, Jim? I mean, because let's face it, today's manufacturers are really assemblers for the most part, and you've got to depend on your suppliers to supply you with dashboards and wheels and interiors and that sort of stuff. And I know that has been a concern as well. How's all that going?
I have to say thank you to our suppliers too, because they're working to keep up with our plants, and we're really actually over delivering from both the supply base and the manufacturing side. So far it's been very well orchestrated, with our supply base team, and very well orchestrated from our manufacturing team. So it's a very safe environment, and everything that we're dealing with here today and it's working well.
You know, I can't even imagine what it would be like trying to adapt the manufacturing plant, just the plant itself. For distancing and to go through all of this stuff. You have got to coordinate all of this with your suppliers. Not only they have to comply with whatever the state is that they're in, but then you have to bring all of that together in the actual assembly plant itself. I can't even imagine the nightmare that your management team must have had to go through to get everything in place to be able to continue manufacturing.
And the investment it took to do that for the safety of your employees.
You know, you're absolutely right on all accounts. And one of the things that, I mean, it's kind of a very Jeep way of doing things too. If you think about it, I mean, we haven't slept. You know, it's been 80-hour, 100-hour weeks, you know, to make sure that everybody's working. You know, the brand team has been working very hard. We're all working from home, but still, it's incredible the amount of man hours we've been putting in to make sure that the product is in the right place at the right time, and coordinating all the efforts with manufacturing, who did an unbelievable job getting up to speed and getting the Jeep plants rolling again.
And how's your day's supply, considering you just talked about a near record month? You know, how's the inventory at the dealerships holding out for you?
You know, not too bad, and it's because, you know, they've been rolling out. It's obviously the lowest it's been in a long time, but they're turning fast and sometimes selling right off the truck as they get there. So, you know, the spring season is a great time for people to buy Wranglers, and I think today with the added, you know, draw to being free, you know, obviously it's, you know, the American icon, and, you know, coming up here to the 4th of July. You know, just take a look at Jeep.com for a second. This seems like a shameless marketing plug, but click on the Wrangler page and look at the American flags. It is just perfect. And, you know, back to what I said before about your question about the culture, you know, there's more American flags hanging off of Wranglers than you can ever imagine on any other vehicle. It's just people feel good about being in a Jeep and feel good about America, and they want to win. And they want to feel free, and you can do that in a Wrangler like nobody else's vehicles out there.
And you talk about the iconic name of Jeep, and with that, you know, somebody mentions a part of the country like Moab or Rubicon. First thing that comes to everybody's mind is Jeep, because that's what it's about.
Yes, you know, that's probably the biggest thing that we've missed. You know, as this thing was rolling up, we ended up having to cancel, you know, the Easter Jeep Safari in Moab was canceled, and, you know, that's generally 20,000 Jeep enthusiasts kind of getting together.
Just a few,
you know, and you know, so we'll see how that goes. You know, we're having a little bit of fun with the concepts. We're going to roll the Jeep concepts out, you know, here over the next little while, and try to bring some of that back, you know, into play. But you know, all based on, you know, the Jeep community and culture. But
anything you want to share with us on
places?
Anything you want to share with us on those concepts today on the show?
Well, I've got that's a great question, and I don't want to get fired, but I can tell you that one of the things that has been consistent with Jeep and is that we listen to our customers. And, you know, a couple of things they asked us to do is they've asked us to do a Jeep pickup truck. Well, you know, that's done. We got the Gladiator on the road. They asked us to put diesel in Wrangler. Well, you guys talked nicely about that. Thanks for your kind words about that. With what we've done, they asked us to bring Grand Wagoneer back into the marketplace, and that's going to be introduced here later this year. And you know, and they've asked us one more thing, and you've heard me say it before. So it's about putting engines and things, and so we'll
figure that out
with that one.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah, we appreciate that, Jim, and we're pulling for you all the way. And you know, you're going to have to be careful with old Don Armstrong. You know how that lead foot works.
You know, you were talking about your customer, listening to your customers and stuff. You know, it's not all about the guys in the Jeeps either. You know, there's a lot of, you got a really big female audience out there that drive the Jeeps. You mentioned, you know, in your family, but even out on the street. I was going to tell you, the Jeep Wave, you know, years ago, whenever I started getting the chance to review the Jeep vehicles, going down the street, and I would see the Wave. from these ladies driving these Jeeps, and I thought, yeah, I'm cool again, you know.
No,
I'm cool again.
And
then I find out it's the Jeep Wave. It didn't have nothing to do with me. It was
yeah. Your wife wondering why all the hotties are.
Yeah,
and
I was kind of, hey, this is pretty cool. And then I find out it's the vehicle, not me.
Jim, it's great to talk to you. Thanks so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it on your busy schedule and all. Best of luck to everybody at Jeep and the FCA brand, and we appreciate everything that you do.
Hey, great talking to you, and take care and be safe, and keep driving Jeeps.
Thanks so much.
We'll talk again, man.
We'll talk again soon. Thanks. Jim Morrison, the head of the Jeep brand. Time now for Jeep Trails, in Wheel Time's weekly look into the world of Jeeping, and Mr. Mars traditionally has that.
So while we're talking about the Jeep lifestyle, I thought it would be a good time to remind everyone, if you go to Jeep.com, there's actually a tab on there that you can tab that says the Jeep lifestyle. And what it does, it brings you into the area where it's got a lot of ideas. You can work with Jeep. You can customize your Jeep vehicle. They've got the community setting so that you can interact with other Jeep people and find out what they've got going on. There's a lot of videos. We were talking about the Rubicon and places like that. There's some videos up there of things like that to go on. There's places to see about some of the things they've done and partnered with as far as sporting events and things go. But really where it gets into is you get into the section called Join Our Journeys. And this is where people have provided Jeep with their videos, their experiences, the things that they've gone and done in their Jeep with the Jeep community people as part of the Jeep lifestyle. And it's really a good entry level and maybe give you some ideas if you've already doing some of these things to go and do some of the other things and how to customize your Jeep. All the things that the Jeep lifestyle is about, this is a great place to get a good indoctrination to it if you're not familiar with it.
All right, thank you, sir. This week in automotive history and inside the mystery garage. Coming up next on the In Wheel Time Car Show. As soon as I press the right buttons.
Yeah, you're perfect.
In every way.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Ugh! I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
A social distancing tip.
Putting distance between yourself and others is critical to slowing the spread of coronavirus. So here are ways to stay in contact without the physical contact part. Call, send a text, set up a video conference, post on social media, dedicate a song on the radio. If you have symptoms of fever, dry cough, and shortness of breath, call your healthcare provider before going to their office. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part, because we're all #AloneTogether. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
It's your all things automotive weekly car talk show. In Wheel Time, a reminder that we are live on YouTube and Facebook each and every Saturday, 10 a.m. to noon Central, and we thank you for riding with us today. Going to do something a little bit different. We usually have the mystery garage and what's back there. Well, we've got something very special, I think, for you. We've been talking about Jeeps, but there are other brands out there. And so I thought today, because I don't know whether you know it or not, but on Thursday evening, the Ford Motor Company introduced the all-new, completely redesigned F-150, and we're going to show it to you. Every panel of the exterior has been redesigned. There it is, and including an updated headlamp design, new hood, wraparound bumpers, higher front fenders, a tucked-in midsection, and larger diameter tires, pulled out 3/4 of an inch. There are 11 grille options available across the series lineup, all differentiated in their own design. Upgrades include available LED headlamps, tail lamps, available full-length extended power running boards with kick switch that provide better truck-side cargo box accessibility. New active grille shutters, new automatically deploying active air dam, new cab and tailgate geometry all work together to reduce drag and improve fuel consumption. And then there's the interior that you see here, the interior completely redesigned. And I want you to look at the size of that screen in the center stack. Wow, it's big. And now, as opposed to the Tesla way of doing it,
which is vertically,
they've gone horizontal.
Landscape.
Landscape. There you go. Featuring enhanced materials on the interior, new color choices, more storage. Every surface has been redesigned, such as more soil-resistant two-tone seats for the XL or the new standard dual glove box. Now, the F-150 now introduces that all-new 12-inch center screen, standard on XLT High Series and above. That allows customers to split the screen and control multiple functions simultaneously, including navigation, music, or the truck features. And that's a separate thing. You'll have to venture out and look at it yourself. 8-inch touchscreen, standard on XL and XLT. An available new 12-inch digital gauge cluster as well. Features large information on demand area along with truck-specific graphics and animations. They respond to the all-new F-150 selectable drive modes and can display off-roading data and turn-by-turn navigation. Knowing many customers prefer a console shifter, Ford has created a stowable shifter for the F-150, which easily folds down into the console when you don't need it, and with the push of a button, it comes back up and to access the large work surface when in park.
Okay, I can.
Can you see? Yeah, it is very cool.
Adding technology to the car.
Yeah. So, I wanted to also mention that it's got max recline seats that fold flat to nearly 180 degrees with the bottom cushion rising to meet the back cushion and the upper back support rotating forward up to 10 degrees for max comfort.
Okay.
Available, lockable, fold flat rear storage area, which you see there, adds a vault to the F-150 that extends the width of the rear seats. Now, every F-150 comes standard with new cleats mounted to the sides of the tailgate to act as tie-down locations for extra long items in the bed.
That's pretty smart.
New clamp pockets are built into the tailgate of every truck so customers can hold materials down that way as well.
You know, you look at how many manufacturers are doing all of this tailgate technology now, and the new cleats is part of it.
Yeah. Well, so there it is. I mean, there's lots more pictures. You can go to Ford.com and look at all that stuff. But that's what's inside the mystery garage. Hey, if you're a member of a car, truck, or Jeep club, we'd like to put your bunch in our car club spotlight. All you have to do is shoot us an email with the contact information to info@inwheeltime.com. Okay, this week in auto history, Conrad's got that.
Well, in 1900, Oliver Lippincott became the first motorist to drive down into Yosemite National Park. And if you've ever been to Yosemite National Park, it's difficult to get down in there. What a beautiful place where Muir did all of the photographs and stuff.
All I can think of is Yosemite Sam.
Well, okay. You've never been to Yosemite?
I have not.
It is a bucket list place to go
It'd
visit.
be a good place to go in a Jeep.
Absolutely. It's stunningly beautiful. And then in 1902 on this day, the German automaker registered the name Mercedes as a brand name.
I didn't know that.
In 1909, the Mercedes brand introduced the three-pointed star as their symbol. So Mercedes was there for 7 years before the Mercedes three-pointed star was part of it. After 2 years of stock acquisition, Walter Chrysler incorporated the Chrysler Corporation in Delaware, Michigan. You know why so many corporations are incorporated in Delaware? For tax reasons.
Right.
Huge tax reasons. So Ferdinand Porsche in 1934 contracted the first of 3 prototypes of the people's car, the Volkswagen Beetle. So it actually dates all the way back to 34 with the prototypes. In 1956, the last Packard, the classic American luxury car with the slogan, "Ask the man who owns one," rolled off the assembly line in Detroit, Michigan in 1956. In 1985, after 59 years, the iconic Route 66 entered the realm of history.
Route 66.
I'm a Yankee. It's Route 66.
Route. Oh, my God.
But the American Association of State Highway and Transportation Officials decertified Route 66 as a national highway, and they removed all the signs from it. But I think before the highway department removed them, everybody else did as well.
Exactly. And you know, I think that route, if you will,
route
is probably more well known today than it was back then.
Yeah, and it stretched from Chicago through a whole bunch. I think it was 8 or 9 states,
all the way down to Texas.
The way to, well, it went through Texas Panhandle up in Amarillo.
Yeah.
All the way to Santa Monica, California, and part of that, as it goes into Santa Monica, was I-10 as it goes right out to the Santa Monica Pier. But I was in Oklahoma at the time, and quite a few of my friends had collected some of the Route 66 signs that were out there on the highway.
Thank you, sir. We're going to take a look at some of the stories making automotive news headlines coming up next. And I've apparently done it again.
You're consistent, if nothing else.
Well, there is that. Let's try this again. I didn't tell you, but we're doing musical interludes now. What do you think? You like them?
Interludes.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I can't spell that. I'm not real sure I want to chase that.
I-N-T. Never mind. All right, so let's do some news headlines before I screw it up even more. Mars brought all this with him today after he lost his wallet yesterday, and it continues to go downhill. But hey, it's part of a live broadcast presentation. How's that? All right, some of the stories making auto news headlines. Toyota recalling 267,000 vehicles here in the U.S. because of a faulty hybrid system that may not enter a fail-safe driving mode.
Eeks.
The recall involves the 2013 to 15 Prius vehicles and the 2014 to 17 Prius V vehicles. According to a Wednesday press release from Toyota, if a vehicle does not enter fail-safe driving mode, it could lose power and stall, which could increase the risk of a crash at high speeds.
Ouch.
That would not be good. Toyota said it will notify owners by late August. You know, we're not even into July yet, and they're going to wait for 2 months to tell me that I've got a potential problem with my car?
Well, yeah. Going back to my days when I was with General Motors, they would release a recall for whatever reason it was, and sometimes they would release the recall 2 or 3 months before the parts were available, because a lot of times the part has to be redesigned, manufactured, and people would come to get these parts put into the dealerships, and there was nothing they can do.
But sir, the problem is that this is a problem that could kill you. And, I think that I would really like to know whether or not I should drive my Prius to work or not. I don't want to die on the way to work because of some fail-safe mode that it doesn't fail safe.
And I would imagine in the notification they're going to give customers information about how to override that if that fail-safe system doesn't work. But, the alternative is to bring it into the dealership and park it and have them give you a rent car. And that's happened on some recalls in the past as well.
Well, I think that's what I would do. I would insist that we have the recall today. Give me something to replace the car with, because I don't want to be driving the darn thing like that. I mean, I'm sorry. That's just me. Is it just me? Am I the one that's jacked up on that deal?
No, there's probably a lot of other folks that completely agree with you.
A lot of other areas you're jacked up, but not on that one.
U.S. National Highway Traffic Safety Administration said on Wednesday it has opened 2 investigations into reports of headlight failures. That could be a problem.
Only at night.
On 392,000 Kia Sorento crossovers and steering issues in 781,000 General Motors vehicles. So it's the 2011 to 2013 Kia Sorento. And then it's also Chevy Equinoxes and GMC Terrains from 2010 to 2012.
With steering issues.
Yeah, the steering issues. The steering wheel becomes sticky. Now, I'm not talking about the actual wheel itself, but it's like, wait a minute, is somebody underneath the hood holding me from turning the car?
Right.
And if I remember correctly, that is an electronically assisted power steering system. It's not a hydraulic, so something in the electronics.
Short.
Yeah, it's a problem, but that's the bottom line. Okay, time to take a break. Into this segment, we're going to start hour number 2. Let me keep my fingers crossed that this is going to work this time. Now.
A crying baby is impossible to ignore, but a quiet baby can be easy to forget. Every year, dozens of children lose their lives because otherwise attentive adults forgot they were in the back seat. It only takes a moment for a car to heat up to dangerous levels, even on cooler days. So get in the habit of always looking in the back seat and use reminders to ensure baby is always with you. Where's baby? Look before you lock. Paid for by NHTSA.
Social distancing slows the spread of coronavirus, so stay a minimum of 6 feet away from others and stay home if you can. More info at coronavirus.gov. Let's all do our part, because we're all #AloneTogether. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
From Studio A in Texas, USA, it's hour number 2 of the All Things Automotive Car Talk Show in Wheel Time. Just ahead, we continue our show on Jeeps and the Jeep lifestyle. In our new car showroom is the Dodge Charger Scat Pack. We'll take you for a ride in that. And later, our Ram Tracks feature, along with the stories making automotive news headlines. That and more just ahead, and this segment of the In Wheel Time Car Show, along with Mike Out of This World Mars down there, who's always in trouble. King Conrad along there, he is trouble. I'm Don Armstrong, and I defined the word trouble. Just saying.
At least you could find something. Mars couldn't find his wallet.
Yeah, and he was kicking it down the street last we saw.
Oh. I'm not saying nothing else. It's so bad.
I know. So we're going to continue our discussion with the Jeep lifestyle, because that's really what it is. So Mr. Mars is lined up for us. A couple of folks. One is Norma Jessup with the Jeep 4-Wheel Adventures, and Randy Sanderlin with the Skyline Jeep Club. How you guys doing?
Yay,
hey,
great.
Doing great.
Now, these are Jeep people, as you can tell. Look, we've even got Jeeps behind us.
Great background.
And a great background with the city of Houston covered in dust today. So don't wash the Jeep today. Wait till the dust goes away. But Norma and Randy, it's great to see you guys. So let's start with Norma, ladies first, and talk about the Jeep 4-Wheel Adventures group. So tell me a little bit about it, and where can we find you? What do you guys do? It's all yours.
Well, we are, of course, local to Houston. We've started our group. We started our follow page first because we decided to go to Colorado, and Colorado was so vastly beautiful that we started sharing our photos. The best way to share those photos was to start a page, so people could follow us. Also to allow people to share their adventures, to Colorado or Moab or wherever it is that they may want to go. So we started that. I think became very popular. Then I don't know, I just decided to start a group. So I started the group, Jeep Full Adventures. It's also called G4 Adventures. We've got a follow page and a group. We have a monthly meetup here at Paperco, downtown Houston, at 1100 Elder Street, monthly. It's the 4th Saturday of every month. Because of the unfortunate situations that we're going through right now with our country, today's event was canceled. Because, out of respect for the people that are losing their jobs, the people's families that are sick, it's just something we don't want to promote,
Sure.
Understood. Completely understand.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
We're listening. Go ahead. We hear you loud and clear.
Okay, good. So, we're here. I'm here with Randy Sanderlin and Skyline Jeep Club, and this particular event is for Mitch and I went through the trouble. Actually, it was no trouble, but it was trouble. 3 months into finding the perfect spot where we can actually fit a numerous amount of Jeeps and have a Jeep meetup monthly that everybody would appreciate it. well, we had no idea that this place was going to become so popular because of the downtown background, you know?
Yep.
So people love to take pictures with their Jeeps back here. We love to meet up here. Usually Paperco is open, so we have coffee and breakfast here. However, because of the current situation with our country, Paperco is indefinitely closed. So anyway, so
we just sit out here and meet up and sweat
and talk.
Yeah. Today's a good day for that.
Yeah, exactly. With all the humidity and all of the the dust that's in the air, it's a perfect day. So when you get home this evening, you can put the Jeep in the garage after you wash it. But so do you guys meet up and actually like go to the beach, go to Moab? Do you actually get involved in a Jeep lifestyle as far as getting your Jeep dirty?
every chance we get. But there's different levels. Some people, don't mind going out and getting a local mud park and getting their dirt Jeep muddy. Some people don't like that. Some people want to go to a rock crawling park, and some people just want to go to some nice trails up in Moab. And then we have a lot of beach people. There's another Jeep club locally, Jeeps at the Beach, Texas, and they have a huge following, and they have events at the beach all the time. A lot of benefits for other good causes too.
Yeah. Well,
I think we were on one time when we talked about the old Highway 87 run that we do.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean we do all kinds of things. Usually when Mitch and I go to Colorado, it's our vacation. So we say, hey, we're going if y'all like to join us. We don't get any takers, but because it's a long trip, it's an expensive trip, and
yeah, it takes a lot of time to get up there and get back and spend some time up there, like you said.
Exactly, and it has to be perfect timing for everyone. If you want to know the truth, we go every year at a particular time. This year we won't be going just because of the current situation, but and we're going to miss it. So I'm looking at as many pictures as I can, joining Colorado Jeep Club group so I can see what's going on up there.
So, Norma, I have to ask you, for those that are thinking about getting into the whole Jeep Wrangler thing, the whole lifestyle to own one, I've got a friend of mine that doesn't even take the top off of hers. I've been encouraging her. How would you get somebody involved in the Jeep lifestyle? Because you got to start somewhere. And so how does that happen? I mean, do you call you guys to reach you on Facebook? How does that happen?
Well, I'll be real honest. When I meet people, a lot of just going to the grocery store and them seeing my Jeep, they ask me about it, and I tell them that it's the best thing that ever happened to me. It's literally changed my life.
But the best way to really get into the lifestyle is join the meetup groups.
Right.
There's several all over town, depending on what part of town you're living in. Join the groups, go out, see the different kind of Jeeps, see the different kind of people. We make lifelong friends. I've been doing this for about 5 years, and I love seeing when I get to introduce people, and then I see them a year or two later, and they're still friends, and they're still hanging out besides the meetups. So it's a great lifestyle. It's a great bunch of friends. There's always something to do in some way or another.
And you get to watch your friends' Jeep evolve over a period of time as they do the modifications to it as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, some of that turns into jealousy a little bit, but we still watch.
Yeah.
1 ton versus 40.
Right, exactly. I can only imagine. I mean, I always revert back to the days that I was in a car club, and it's so much fun, and met lifelong friends that are still friends of mine today, 35 years later, and we're still in touch. And so it is a lifestyle. And, I think that people can be a little leery about joining a club. Well, I don't have a lot of time to devote to a club. Well, you can devote as much time as you want. You don't have to sign up for the monthly meetings. If you can't go one month, it's no big deal. Hey, I'm not coming this month because whatever. If you're not feeling well, you don't show up. Okay, that's fine. It's not one of those kind of mandatory things,
right?
That like paying club dues or something like that. It's not.
It's
that
supposed
way.
to be fun.
Yeah, That's what it's all about.
It's the freedom that you feel when you get in your Jeep. I don't know that I've ever gotten into my Jeep without, after getting in, a big smile just comes over me. You know, you don't have to join a club. You don't, you know, if you get a Jeep, you feel it. You know, you feel the freedom. I would never have imagined myself going to Colorado, ever. It happened after I got my Jeep.
Yeah. So
you know,
I guess the question is it okay for somebody that has a Jeep that they're really not sure about joining a club, but they would like to give it a shot and see what it's all about? You don't have to join the club or the group to go on a beach meetup or something like that. You come and see what you think about it.
Absolutely.
Exactly. That's one of the reasons Skyline is just a like and follow page. Just you click on the page. You don't have to answer any questions. You don't have to do anything. Just like and follow it. I've had people get on there and say, "Man, after watching you guys, I had to go get me a Jeep." You know, just
right.
tag along. There's always an event going somewhere. So no matter where you live, you can hook up with other ones. And even if you have a new Jeep that's not modified like some of the ones behind us, and we still welcome you in and, you know, give you some pointers and don't try this and try this. And,
yeah, because you can give them your experience with the modification range that they can do. Depends on what they want. Are they looking for performance? Or are they looking for the visuals of the car? And coach them on where your whole group has been on doing some of those things.
Exactly true. Yeah.
And we encourage them to come to meetups for that very purpose. You know, you get to you know, look at a Jeep and, you know, a lot of people ask questions. Well, what bumper should I get, or what tires should I get? Well, come out to a meetup, check out something that because we don't know their preferences, we don't know what they really like. But come out and look at something, and you'll see something, and then the owner of the Jeep will be able to tell you, well, that's this. Oh, well, I really like that. Where did you get it from? So you know, that's one of the purposes for the monthly meetups, is to meet new people and to and allow them to like see the Jeeps, see what people have on their Jeeps, and modify their own to the way they want it to be modified.
Right.
Yeah, and you don't have to have a new one. You could buy a used one, old one. And not only that, it's also, when you're in a group, it's a good a resource, shall I say. If you've got a problem with the Jeep, if you want to know what manufacturer made the bumper, where'd you get the wheels, how do you think of the tires, it is a huge resource.
Even get some help from some of the fellow members in the club to help you make some of those modifications.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think like we told you last time, we did do the wrenching parties at somebody's house. You know, we'll get together and do some wrenching. I don't know if we lost you guys.
No, we're still here. We're still here.
We lost the camera.
But
okay.
we've got you.
You're fine.
Okay, well, we still do the wrenching parties. You know, we'll get together and somebody might want to put a new bumper on or do some running boards or whatever. You know, we all get together and help him out. You know, and then like you said, when something goes wrong, because, you know, Jeep is a quirky little vehicle, little things go wrong that nobody knows how to fix. So it's good to be in a club that, hey, what did you do when you had this problem? And you'd be surprised. Somebody's had that problem somewhere along the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So give us your best Jeep wave. We know all the Jeep folks wave to each other as they're going down the road.
Look back here. Sitting there waiting for it to finish.
Well, it's great to see you guys. Thank you so much for putting your little Jeep bunch together back there with
Very
Houston
much.
in the background. We know that it took a little effort on y'all's part, and we really appreciate it. It's great to see you, and hopefully we'll see you in person soon. Be sure and invite us to the next event.
Absolutely.
Wow, absolutely, yeah. Fourth Saturday of every month here, and
We'll
rain
see.
or shine.
All right. Well, we
Thanks for having us on again.
all right. Well, we really appreciate it. Thanks so much, and we'll talk to you guys again soon. Norma Jessup with the Jeep Four Wheel Adventures Bunch, and Randy Sanderlin with the Skyline Jeep Club. You know, we talk about all of these fine folks, and they've been actually longtime friends of ours. We don't see each other very often, and most of the time it's more along the lines of interviews like this that we actually run into them, see them, we talk about the Jeep lifestyle. But that's the way this whole thing with the Jeep Wranglers works. So it's all good. It's all good.
And there's so many Jeep groups you can join. just here in the Houston area. There are a couple of them, but there's probably 7 or 8 big Jeep groups you can meet.
And the funny thing about it is, if you're worried about it and try which one am I go, just go to one of the events, because chances are the other Jeepers are going to be there as well. And if not, they know how to get in touch with somebody, the Jeep club that's near you.
And they're all happy to have you join, or just happy to have you come out to an event, even if you don't want to join.
That's right. Hey, I'd like to remind you to stay in touch with us all week long by following us on Facebook, YouTube, and through InWheelTime.com. Each and every week, we invite you to join us live for our 2-hour show, 10 a.m. to noon Central. And we've got more of the In Wheel Time Car Show coming your way right after this.
GTG, BRB, OMW, be there in a few. You may think that these kinds of texts are fine because of their length, and you can easily send them at a stoplight. But no, answering one text can take your attention away from the road for 5 seconds. And traveling at 55 miles an hour, that's enough time to travel the length of a football field. Make good decisions. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Houston's most in-depth car show, In Wheel Time, streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and on InWheelTime.com. Podcasts of the show available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, iHeart Podcast, TuneIn, Google Podcast, and Podcast Addict. It's all way too much. I can't keep up with all of it. But I can tell you that who is prepared right now, that man in the green shirt over there, Mr. Michael Mars, has a review of and we're all jealous, the Dodge Scat Pack.
This is the 2020 Dodge Charger RT Scat Pack Plus.
Scat Pack.
Scat Pack. Who did this writing? Anyway, what we're really talking about is we're talking about the large, full-size family sedan. It's a rear-wheel drive vehicle. And the one that we had, it came in this bright, gimme-a-ticket red with this bold, broad,
that's perfect for you.
Black carbon fiber dual striping down it that just really looked awesome because it matched.
Hey, police, here I am. Come and get me.
I call that pull me over red.
That's right. Same thing. I mean, it was just this gorgeous combination of black and red. When you throw in the red Brembo brake calipers and the wheels, and it was a perfect match, and it goes well with this sleek profile that absolutely has a nod to the 68 to 70 model Dodge Chargers in the fact that long sloping hood and the short on the trunk back end of the deck lid's what I'm trying to think of. Thank you. Up front, we found that we had the automatic high beams with the front with rain sensing wipers, and we had the wide body package on it. So we had the body colored fender flares on it that way around, so that's what allowed the 20 by 11 inch wheels, 11 inches wide wheels, to be totally tucked underneath on this thing.
It needs the big meaties for the motor.
And this is the Devil Rim aluminum wheels is what this was called.
Yeah, that's great.
And like I say, you put the bright red Brembo brakes right behind it with the 6-piston calipers, so it was the big size, easy to see. We had all kinds of things like the automatic adjust side mirrors. When you put it in reverse, it automatically adjusts for you to go back, rain-sensing wipers, just a lot of nice things on the outside on that profile. But when you get inside of it, it's got this cockpit styling to it.
Great seats.
They absolutely are. We had the black Napa leather with the leather flat bottom steering wheel that, for racers that like to have that. We had an interior lighting package that I thought was kind of unusual. It had the illuminated rear cup holders because in the rear seat it had the fold-down armrest that had cup holders on it, but that area was illuminated so you could see it, and had the front driver and the passenger lower LED lighting down on the feet so that you could see around down there, and the overhead lighting was LED. So it had this really nice interior lighting package to kind of light things up because it was all black.
Oh, okay.
So it was really nice to be able to light things up. Power front seats. The second row actually had heated seats on the outboard seating positions. Had the nice 8.4-inch Uconnect screen on it. Had the Harman Kardon Green Edge system. Now, this is 19 speakers with an amp, and it was surround sound, and it would surround the whole interior of this thing with some awesome sound. But
Do they call it the Super Bee? Do they call it that?
No, they don't. No, they just call it the Scat Pack.
Oh. But it looks like
But
it
it's
had
got
the Super Bee logo
emblem.
on it.
Yeah, but it's that Scat Pack was a whole grouping of vehicles back then. Like the Super Bee was one of them.
Oh, okay.
So the standard engine in the Charger is a 3.6-liter V6 with the 290 or 300 horsepower,
Nobody
depending on
cares
how you
about
get
that.
it. But we had the 6.4-liter V8, 485 horsepower, 475 pound-feet of torque, 8-speed automatic with the anti-spin rear differential.
Can you get a manual transmission with this?
No, sir.
You cannot.
Nope.
But it's go to jail fast.
Oh, it is go to jail fast. 0 to 60 in 4.3 seconds, 12.4 ET off the factory showroom floor.
Did you use the performance pages?
I did not. I'm serious. I did not.
No,
Now,
he didn't want to. He wanted to melt the rubber off the back. Hello, Kimberly Schultz. Listen, I've got a real problem with the press fleet car over here. Something happened to the rubber on the rear end.
It was that way when I got it, and all this research. But I do want to say that the EPA says you should be looking for 15 miles per gallon in the city, 24 out on the highway for a combined of 18 in this vehicle. Now, the week I had it, we did get 22.5. for an overall average.
That's pretty good with your lead foot.
Well, we put it out on the highway, and I want to tell you why. Because this is a very highway-friendly driving vehicle. I mean, it is a modern muscle car because you can get in it and you can drive it like it's the family sedan. And I'm a big fan of the Hellcat, but if I was really going to pick one to drive on a daily basis, the Hellcat, you still know you're in that massive 700-plus horsepower vehicle, no matter what.
It's scary.
Well, it's not necessarily scary, but you know it. Now, this vehicle, you can get in it, and you can cruise the highway coming over here, for example, running down Interstate 10 at 80 miles an hour or whatever the speed limit is, and you're driving a sedan, and you feel like you're driving a sedan.
You are such a liar. Don't believe any of this. He just lies through his teeth.
But I want to tell you, though, the great thing about this, though, is when you decide you want to step off in it, when you need to get up on the freeway,
Here we go.
Freeway access ramp test.
Are we recording this?
It will get up and go. And I want to tell you, it's got paddle shifters, and when you pull them shifters, and shift will happen, and it'll happen immediately whenever you pull it.
That's cool. Shift will happen.
And I'm just telling you.
Shift happens.
I really enjoyed driving this car. I want to tell you, from a performance vehicle, this is a great street vehicle.
No. This has nothing to do with your profession and nothing else.
No.
Mike likes all of that horsepower and
I do, but I like the fact
Don't we all?
My wife could drive this, and she would feel comfortable driving it because it doesn't have that overwhelming
But you
performance
would never
feel.
let her drive it because
No,
you
hell
want
no.
to drive
Excuse
it.
me. No, I would not let her drive it. So if I was going, and it's really hard to find something to compare this to because performance-wise, you really got to get up in the $100,000 range or to do
Close
it. But if
to
you're
it,
looking at a sedan, the Kia Credenza starts at about $33,000 for the 2019. I couldn't find the pricing on the 2020.
Wait a minute. You comparing that to a
Well,
Kia
I'm looking
Cadenza?
what are you looking for? A full-size type four-door sedan? I mean, what are you going to go with? The Toyota Avalon or what else? You got the Nissan Maxima?
Cadillac CTS?
V?
Yeah.
Well, you'd have to go to the V to get that
to
kind
get the
of power,
performance. Yeah, to get the performance out of it, you would. But I was just looking for a base sedan to start with because you can get into a base sedan Charger for less than $30,000.
Oh, wow.
With a 300 horsepower motor.
How much was this one?
Now, this one, our test vehicle, the base on our test vehicle was $39,995, but we had a few options. And that pushed it up to $57,000.
Oh, my God. A few options.
But that's not bad considering what that car is.
Well, because the wide body and everything else that you put on it, some of this stuff you wouldn't necessarily need to get the true performance.
This thing is loaded.
If you're talking about 11-inch wide wheels, so you got some serious meat under it.
Can you get the 392 without the wide body kit?
Yes, because the wide body is an option that was added on to this.
And how much was that option? Do you know?
Let's see. The Scat Pack, that was the seats. Wide body was $6,000.
I could do
so
it.
You could break this down to 51,000.
I'm just going to say I could get some skinnier tires and light them up quicker.
Yeah, but you go from four piston brakes to 6-piston brakes. You're talking about the tires, the wheels, the suspension. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into that.
All I want is the motor.
Well, yeah,
that's all I need.
That.
I just want the motor and the air conditioning. I'm good.
But I will say, if you really sit down and look at what you're getting for $57,000, you can step up to a Hellcat that's going to be up in the 70s or the 80s. You can look at the Corvette that's up in the 80s. From a value package for a muscle machine, a modern muscle machine, this is the kind of vehicle you really need to look at.
We've got the events calendar coming up right after a very quick break, so you just stay right there.
Let's be honest. The National Symphony may not be in his future, but he wanted to try violin. So you said yes because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more about keeping your kids safe in your vehicle at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Social distancing slows the spread of coronavirus, so we should all stay home to lower the risk for everyone. More info at coronavirus.gov. Let's all do our part, because we're all #alone together. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
It's Houston's most in-depth car show called In Wheel Time. Streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and on InWheelTime.com. Podcasts available on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, iHeart Podcast, TuneIn, Google Podcast, and Podcast Addict. Seems like I just did that, didn't I?
It's okay.
Is it okay? Can never do it enough.
Nope.
All right. Thanks for joining us. Remember, our show airs every Saturday, 10 to noon Central Time. Time now for the events calendar. Conrad has that.
So tonight is the monthly cruise in at 3 Acres, and that's going to be at 5 p.m.
Cruise in at 3 Acres.
Yeah, it's down in the Santa Fe.
Is that kind of like Shady Acres?
No, down in the Santa Fe area.
Oh, okay.
And then 6 p.m. tonight is the Kima Meet and Show. So if you're looking to go to a meet tonight, go to Kima.
Is that even still on?
Yep. Well, as far as I know, I didn't see that they canceled it, and I checked their Facebook page last night. Traction Pop-Up Meet is at 3820 Richmond Avenue, and that's at 8 p.m. And that's going to be outside, and you're in your cars. They want everybody to park a car space apart, so there's a little social distancing going on. Tomorrow morning, Speed Advocates Cruise. They're going to meet at the Target store in Katy at 8 a.m. and take a cruise, I think, again, through the National Forest. Seems to be the cruise direction of choice for most people because you can get some nice curvy roads up there. And then tomorrow afternoon at 3 p.m. is Crawfish and Cars in downtown Conroe. Sunday night, Freddy's at 1960 in Eldridge. I went last Sunday. They actually had a pretty decent turnout with some pretty cool cars. And then
but then COVID happened.
And then COVID happens. But their Showplace Classics is still having all their meets. They're just asking everybody to outside park a car space apart from everybody. And then Freddy's in Katy is going to be Wednesday at 6 p.m. Then at Freddy's in in Spring at Kirkendall and 2920 at 6 p.m. That's going to be Friday night. And then this weekend, there is no Nifty 50s. I think Randy's hoping to have a Nifty 50s July 4th night, but who knows how that's going to play out.
We don't know anything. It's kind of like a day-to-day thing.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is. So, what was that? That was that website that guy works on that's got all the events on it and stuff?
Houston Car Meets and Cruises.
Houston Car Meets and Cruises on
Facebook. Yeah.
Okay.
Joseph Pledger.
That's it. Yeah. All right. I'm glad you got a memory. I don't. Hey, if you've got a question or a comment for us, email us. The address is info@inwheeltime.com. We love the comments. The comment section is huge.
It's the best.
Yeah. Jeep Off-Road Park. Is that who we're going to? No, we're going to talk to. We're going to talk to Creekside Off-Road Ranch. That's what it is. Creekside Off-Road Ranch. That's coming up in our next segment. We invite you to stay with us here on the In Wheel Time Car Show.
Do you know what teens just love? Not being told what you're supposed to love. That's not anyone's business but yours. It doesn't matter what you love, but if you love it, click it. That includes you too. Because in 2018, 42% of Texas teens who died in traffic crashes were not wearing their seatbelts. Make sure everyone is buckled up. Every rider, every ride. Brought to you by the Texas Department of Transportation.
Texas Truck Works is your go-to truck customizer. From mild-to-wild lift kits, custom wheels, and steering and handling enhancements to the best personal and commercial wraps, Texas Truck Works delivers. Let Texas Truck Works founder Scott Stevens help you get the most out of your truck or Jeep. Texas Truck Works has decades of customizing experience, including power adders and complete engine swaps. Let the Texas Truck Works team design an upgrade plan that fits your budget. Get truck attitude today at TexasTruckWorks.com. Ladies and gentlemen,
start your engines.
It's the In Wheel Time Weekly award-winning live car talk show. Just ahead, we are hoping to get a hold of Cole Bishop to talk about a fun place to take your Jeep off-roading. It's close by. We're also going to have our Ram Tracks feature, Conrad's Car Clinic, today's auto news, bunch of other stuff, jibber jabber, along with Mike Out of This World Mars down there on his cell phone trying to get a hold of Cole. King Conrad DeLong doing something on his computer. I'm Don Armstrong fiddling around over here on your Saturday. So thanks again for joining us. And while we wait for Cole Bishop, I had a little thing that I wanted to kind of share with everybody that I thought was pretty interesting. Dodge, Mars just did a Dodge review. Dodge became the first domestic brand to claim the top spot in J.D. Power's annual report card on new vehicle quality, while Tesla unofficially finished last at its debut appearance in the study, now in its 34th year.
Well, and not only Dodge won the car category, Ram won the truck category.
Genesis was the top-ranked luxury brand for the fourth year in a row. Following back-to-back podium sweeps by Korean brands, Detroit automakers claimed 3 of the top 4 slots in the closely watched initial quality study released Wednesday. The study measures the number of problems reported over the first 90 days of ownership. Man, it used to be, I remember vividly, you go buy a new car, and you always put a little spiral notebook in there because you had
major
notes about this was wrong, this didn't work, this fell off, this broke, blah, 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 blah. And the list went on and on and on. And over a 2-3 week period, then you'd take it back to the dealer, and then the dealer would have his punch list that he would have to go through, and the car was in the shop for 2 or 3 days, and then you get it back. Remember those days?
Hopefully all of that was fixed. Well, now the initial quality survey by J.D. Powers is the keynote quality survey that most of the manufacturers mention in all of their advertising. So being at the top of the list is pretty awesome.
So let's go through some of them, shall we? Let's start with the industry average. There's 166 problems per 100 vehicles. Problems per 100 vehicles. There's 166 problems.
So that's 1.6 problems per vehicle.
If you can break it down that way, yeah.
Well, that's the way that they do.
So that's the industry average. So let's start down here. Cadillac, 162.
So they're
going up the list now to number 1.
Cadillac's just a little bit better than average.
Okay. Then Nissan, 161. Lexus, 159. That was kind of surprising to me.
Was always at the top of the list for quite a few years.
Yeah. Then there's Jeep,
which is pretty awesome considering.
Right, at number 11. Number 10 is Hyundai. Number 9 is Volkswagen. Number 8 is GMC. Number 7 is Buick. Now, these are manufacturers across the globe, all the manufacturers.
And Buick had been in or about the top there for a few years
yeah.
as well.
Oh, yeah. Then, are you ready for this?
Yes.
Number 6, Mitsubishi. Ugh. You've got to be kidding me.
No comment.
Genesis, 5.
And Genesis at number 5 won the luxury category.
Right. Ram, number 4.
Well, Ram was tied for number 4.
No, not on this one. Okay. Ram is not tied. So number 4 is Ram. Number 3 is Chevrolet. Now, understand that this is all across their entire makeup of cars.
Right. Okay? Cars and trucks.
Kia was number 2. It was tied with Dodge for number 1. Dodge was 1, Kia 2.
And that's a testament to the Dodge and the FCA crew to have all 3 of their major brands in the top.
At the bottom of the list, with the most problems was Tesla.
With what was their number?
250.
So it's 2.5 problems per 100 car per car.
And then you were coming back up the list now. Land Rover, Audi, Volvo, Mercedes-Benz.
Ooh, ouch. Those are all expensive cars.
Jaguar.
We're still at the expensive car level.
So I don't want to get into the rest of it. But at any rate, they cited widely praised technology such as Fiat Chrysler Automobile's Uconnect infotainment system.
Well, you guys brag about Uconnect all the time as being the best one out there. But the infotainment systems are one of the systems that drive customer dissatisfaction.
That's correct.
Quite high in the J.D. Power survey.
Actually, it is actually the number one thing. And the number one thing within that is voice recognition.
Huh?
Uh-huh. Voice recognition. Tesla. Who would have thunk? I wouldn't have. Infotainment remained the most troublesome category. The study found almost 1/4 of all new vehicle problems stemmed from voice recognition. Android Auto, Apple CarPlay connectivity was another one, touch screens another, navigation systems, and Bluetooth.
So the problems being reported by the customers are all technology related, not structural, not mechanical.
Yeah.
Right.
You never hear engine jobs anymore. Well, I had 700 miles on it and the engine blew up.
Yeah.
No, that just doesn't happen anymore. But there was a time that it did.
Well, and now the level of technology on cars is being raised every year. They're adding more and more features to the car and higher technology. So with that comes the struggle of doing it correctly so that it is an easy interface for the driver to utilize those technologies.
So we've gotten word that Cole is not going to join us from the Creekside Off-Road Ranch.
That was Don's Mitsubishi. But anyhow, we will we'll soldier on here. Did you hear that Ford announced that it will go with an all-electric F-150 for sale in 2022?
Yeah, I believe that. They're all going electric. They're going to have electric availability. They're all going to do it.
Right.
And my take on that whole electric thing. It's all fine, well, and good until you need
juice.
Until you need some electric juice up there in the battery. Then what?
Yeah, it's the infrastructure to keep it going.
If you think that AAA's busy now with dead batteries.
Wait till they drive around with that truck with the big, huge 440-volt generator on the back of it to come give you your electric car jump charge.
Here, let me fill you up. It's only cost you a couple $100.
Yeah, you're only going to have to sit here on the side of 610 for an hour.
And I don't remember if we talked about this in the past. General Motors and Honda are planning a joint development electric vehicle based on GM's EV skateboard platform. And a skateboard platform is wheels, tires, and drivetrain, and then bolt any kind of body you want on top of it. The exteriors and interiors of the new EVs will be exclusively designed by Honda, equally sold by General Motors, and the vehicles will be manufactured at GM plants in North America.
That won't happen. I just don't see that happening. Do you really, honest to God, think that's going to happen?
Yes, because I think the cost of EV technology, the cost of battery technology, when they can join together and share that cost with manufacturers.
It is GM.
Well, that's a whole lot of it.
Well,
but it's still the market's still got to develop. I mean, they they got to do this research. I understand it's development. It's going to take years to really get there, but they've got to develop a market as they go. You look at Texas. Texas, you want to drive 900 miles across Texas, you're going to have a heck of an EV to do that.
Well, and you're trying to put together a show that's purely about EVs here in the future as well.
Right.
So that's something we can talk a little bit more about.
We'll be talking a lot about it. And we'll specifically talk about Don's problems with it. Yeah.
Don has anxiety.
No. It is
That's a 4 hours.
It's a 4-hour show. And
we'll be joined by Dr. Oz.
Right. Because of the rash that I have that I break out with every time I get an EV. I'm going to figure out how. Let's see. That rash, all that's caused by EV anxiety.
Maybe we can get Dr. McInville to join us.
But that's all part of it. That's what I'm saying. it's not just you.
You know, I have to tell you, I received a press release this week of some, PR firm touting the fact that their charging company, whatever it was, I don't know whether you got this or not, their charging company now has 2 routes that go from the East Coast all the way to the West Coast, and you don't have, they got their chargers all the way. I cannot even begin to imagine driving coast to coast in an electric car.
No, and electric cars really weren't designed to do that.
Well,
my opinion is they weren't.
All I can think of is that there needs to be a subsidy for motel rooms along the way, because it's going to take you 5 days to get there, because you're going to have to stop every 10 minutes to charge the car.
Well, remember, Tesla's working on what I call the battery cartridge, so that you can unplug when you pull in, you can unplug the battery cartridge, remove it from the vehicle, they'll slide another battery cartridge in and send you on the way in about the time it takes your vehicle to fill up with gasoline.
There was also a story this week that I received that there is some manufacturer now that is working on technology for taxi cabs in some other place on Earth, that if you want to buy the fleet of vehicles, they will come and install a no plug-in charger. So you just drive the taxi over this big charger, and it somehow magically charges, kind of like a cell phone, that you put the cell phone in your center console.
Do you have to get out of the car?
No, you don't even have to get out of the car.
I think I'd get out of
your butt.
Yeah, I would get out of the car. There would be no way.
And there's people like Zekin over here has got his pacemaker and all. You're going to go, okay, well, Jeff was with us before he drove on to the charging pad, but he's no longer with us. It's a Frankenstein kind of thing. Okay, well, good luck with that.
Well, yeah, but that's my point. The PR people, the marketing people, they're trying to make it like this is everyday driving. That you can drive these EVs just like you drive anything else. And you can't. Now, you can do your 20-mile commute. You can do a 40-mile commute. Mm-hmm. I can't drive it from Beaumont to Houston and back. I mean, I can't make
that.
I tried.
BMW thing.
Yeah. But I mean, to me, I understand the vehicle's got a purpose, and I'm okay with that. But sitting here saying, oh, now you can go across the country from New York to L.A.,
so you make
if you put it on a train.
Yeah.
Well, but that's the thing between pure EV and hybrid. When you look at a Toyota Prius.
I'll take the hybrid.
It's a hybrid. There's a gas motor that either propels the vehicle or drives a generator, and the vehicle is propelled by the electric motors.
Sure.
Now, I think.
Propelled, I think
propelled.
Propelled was the correct term.
But it's you just can't. It's make believe to sit there and say people are going to buy EVs to drive across the country. They're going to be the Griswolds are going to leave Chicago to go to California in an electric car. It's just not going to happen.
So in the family generator.
That's right.
So Mars, living over there in the Beaumont, Port Arthur, Orange area, he drives over here. How far is the drive?
110.
110 miles. Okay. So at the most, when the car's all charged up and you feather the throttle and you don't get crazy with it, maybe 200 miles.
Yeah, I was going to say
maybe.
That's about what they talk. But
so
that's driving soft
So he comes
in general.
over here, gets here at 8 o'clock in the morning. We do the 2-hour show from 10 to noon here.
Plugs it into your
house.
house.
Plugs it into the house, and it says, oh, well, you just gained an extra 5 miles. You're going to have to keep it plugged in until Sunday night at 10 o'clock.
It's a long extension cord.
On 110 volts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's not happening.
Honey, I'll be home in a week. I got to go do the show.
This is Texas. This is not New York City.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
We're not all jam-packed in here.
Well,
it takes 2 hours to go from one side of the town to the other almost.
Well, and that goes to when GM released the Bolt, which you did the car review on last week. That was only released in the California markets and the New York markets because they knew it was all just a commuter car.
And that's exactly what it needs to be. It needs to be understood. But, again, when the PR guys and the marketing guys come out and say, "Oh, you can drive cross country in this EV," it's an illusion that they're trying to use to sell to justify buying the car.
Where
and it
is the
doesn't
stop
exist.
button?
Yeah,
stop.
I dealt with PR guys and marketing guys when I was an engineer with General Motors.
And you
Believe me,
still-
they don't know what the heck they're talking about, but boy, they can sure talk fast.
And you still are.
Yes, I am.
Mm-hmm.
All righty.
All right. Shall we move on now?
Yeah, because I'm fixing to get stirred up.
You are stirred up. Well, we brought you around from unconsciousness when you walked in and mind set on a lost wallet. Now you're ready to go with Ram Tracks. In Will Time's weekly look into the Ram Nation. Mr. Mars always
I
does that
am
for
so
us.
ready for this, because I've actually seen this. And this is, we've been talking about storage in the vehicles and stuff. And this is an upfitter, but you can get it through Ram. And it fits into the bed of the truck. It actually replaces the bottom part of the bed, and it's got these long pull-out drawers on them. You can see it right there
sits
on our
on
screen.
top of the bed.
Yes, and you still can put stuff in there, but it's got it, and you can compartmentalize it. It's deep enough. You can put power tools in there. You can put all kinds
Bags
of
of golf
things
clubs in there.
Put bags of golf clubs in there, bowling balls, I guess, if you wanted to. But it's really designed so that whenever you've got stuff that's in there and you hit the brakes and it slides all the way up to the back of the cab, and you got to climb up in there over stuff. Well, now you can just grab the drawer and pull it out, and it's right there. I remember the first time I saw this was at the Texas Truck Rodeo, and we were cleaning up, and I can't remember how many cases of beer we put in there that we had to take because we were finished with it.
Was it 99 bottles of beer on the wall?
Oh, there was at least 99 bottles there. I mean, there were several cases that fit in one of those drawers, and I thought, how cool is this? You could put some ice in here, and you've got it made.
It was designed right, just the size
and
for
you,
a couple
and you
of
pull
cases
it out
of beer.
as you use up the beer. You just pull the drawer out a little bit further.
Plus, it had a cover on it that secured whatever it was you wanted.
Nobody would ever know walking by.
That's right. But it was really cool, and it's some of the great storage options that you can find these days.
All right. And where did you find that?
Well, actually, I found it at one of the upfitters, but this one was actually on Decked.com, which is a company that builds it because of the deck that was right there.
All right. Thank you, sir. Time for a quick break. The In Wheel Time Car Show streams on Facebook, YouTube, and InWheelTime.com. We are All Things Automotive. Our live broadcast is available 10 to noon Central Time before all the good stuff gets edited out. Just saying.
911, what's your emergency?
God, there's a train that just hit a car.
Sir, what is your location? Look around for a street sign, sir.
It's 8th and Orchard. 8th and Orchard.
Okay, very good. 8th and Orchard. Sir, help is on the way.
Why would he do that? The train still doesn't stop. You have to get there now.
At a railway crossing, even if the engineer sees you and hits the brakes, it can take a mile for the train to stop. And for you, that's too late. Stop. Trains can't. Paid for by NHTSA.
You know, if you'd ever like to get in touch with us here at InWheel Time, shoot us an email. The address is info@inwheeltime.com. Time now for Conrad's Car Clinic. And you're probably wondering what all this is sitting in front of us, and here's the answer.
Well, a lot of times people talk about, if I'm going to go out in my Jeep and I'm going to do some trail rides, what do I do to improve the performance of the vehicle cost effective? One of the biggest things to do to help the performance of the vehicle when you're trail riding is adjust tire pressure. Now, there's all kinds of formulas out there for how do I adjust the tire pressure based on the weight of the wheel, the weight of each wheel on the vehicle, the size of the tire, what kind of ride you're going to take. Doesn't really matter. I'm going to tell you, if you just kind of want to simplify it, if you drop somewhere between 10 to 12 pounds of air pressure on your car, on your tires, when you're off-roading in that Jeep, it's going to give you a larger contact patch on the ground. It's going to let the tire wrinkle a little bit more, so as you're going over rocks and sharp things, it's not going to puncture the tire. And I know Jeff, my tire guy, is here going, but the fact is, when you're off-roading, your tire pressures are going to be different than when you're driving down the highway at 60, 70 miles an hour.
Well, you certainly don't want to drive down the highway at 67 miles an hour with,
10
5
pounds,
pounds
right.
Yeah.
But again, the objective is, how do I improve my traction in the vehicle when I'm doing 3, 4, 5 miles an hour and I'm off-road? How do I protect my tire from a rock puncture? You do that by lowering the tire pressure. You allow the tire to kind of wrap around the rock to help your your traction, but you also let it wrap around the rock so it doesn't puncture into the tire. So all of those things come into effect, but one of the things that you're going to need to do is you're going to need to bring a compressor with you of some kind. Now, I've got a compressor that plugs into the cigarette lighter.
Oh, my God, that thing takes forever to fill
Actually,
up
it
the
didn't
tire.
take as long as I thought it would.
Oh, Lord.
But
if you're out in the outback, though, and you're sitting up there on the side of a hill and you want to get down off of it, what else you going to do?
It beats nothing.
Exactly.
So, Don, we've got a compressor here. So you can adjust your tire pressures back. When you get back on the highway, you can get your tire pressure back up to the number that's written on the placard inside the driver's side door at that 31, 32 to 37 PSI range. But if you're going to go off-road and you're going to go off in the sand, you're going to go off in the mud, you're going to go off on the rocks, you really do want to lower that tire pressure to help your traction alone, and that'll give you an improvement in the performance of your Jeep. Today was all about Jeeps, and that was one of the things I found on Off-Roader magazine. Was,
I want you to know
pressures.
that there was a time that I was actually trying to work and build myself a dune buggy out of a truck. And I did a lot of research. This was a long time ago. I did a lot of research, and I had some big, fat, wide tires for the front tires, the steering tires. But in the back, I wound up buying what looked like airplane tires. They were actually farm implement tires, but there was no traction knobs on them, nothing like that. It was all about surface. So you would have a rib here that went all the way around, another rib, and then another rib, and you'd have these deep wells. So nothing but contact, and they were able to increase the contact area as opposed to running a slick.
Mm-hmm.
It increased the contact area over a slick. And so that's what I put on there.
And
big, wide things.
And that's the objective of lowering your tire pressure, because it makes your tire fatter on the contact point on the ground, so it helps your contact patch.
You get stuck in the sand. I mean, everybody, they just bury their down at the beach. They keep trying to drive them out. There's 2 or 3 different things you can do, but one of the things you can do is lower the tire pressure a little bit to get that wider stance there to try and get up there on it.
This one here is a plug-in-the-wall compressor, but the reason that I bought this one is because plug it in the wall, and it also has a tank. The tank doesn't last a very long time without the motor running on it. And so I would imagine that a good plug in the cigarette lighter.
Mine puts out 1 CFM per minute. And I was reading yours. I think yours puts out 1 CFM per minute.
There's another thing you can do, which I've got one down at the beach. It's a tank that I fill, and it's basically shaped just like that one. And I fill it so that if we're out on the beach, and
that's what we used to do at the car dealership.
You just take the tank out there and you fill it up. It'll do several tires.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, and that's what we did at the car dealership when we had a flat tire on a new car out there. We didn't lug around motors and all that stuff. It was just a tank with a handle on it.
Right. And sometimes you can use like an old propane tank, because at some point after the propane tank's 5 years old, you're not allowed to use it for propane anymore, so you can use it with compressed air.
Yeah, but you go to Harbor Freight, you can catch it on sale, a tank with a gauge on it for $20.
Yeah, I bought that compressor I bought. It's got a nice gauge on it, a 10-foot cigarette lighter and a 6-foot of hose. It was $44.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So there's lots of options, but you're right. You got to have something if you're going to do that.
And if you've got it in the car, hey, you might be able to help somebody get off the highway if they're having trouble.
All right, we've got more of the In-Wheel Time show, including this week's automotive news headlines coming right at you.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
A social distancing tip.
While the CDC urges you to avoid close contact, like hugging or shaking hands, there are other non-physical ways to say hello. Wave, wink, use sign language, salute, smile, give the peace sign, throw up an air high five, do jazz hands. Remember, stay a minimum of 6 feet or 2 arms length away from others, and stay home if you can. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part, because we're all #AloneTogether. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
The In Wheel Time Car Show is a weekly event. We do this live on Saturdays from 10 until noon Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and inwheeltime.com. But throughout the week, if you've missed portions of the show, we put up podcasts in 30-minute little blocks. And so
you can listen to them while you're driving down the highway and enjoy us later in the week again.
Yeah, exactly. So with that in mind, we have some news headlines to tell you about. 30% of drivers turn off adaptive cruise control, according to a survey released Wednesday by Erie Insurance.
No trust.
Making it the top safety feature that drivers disable. The survey identifies 11 safety features that are disabled the most. Lane keeping assist, which I despise.
Do you really? I like that.
Oh, my God. Drives me nuts. And driver attention monitoring round out the top three.
That's the thing to see is if you're dozing off.
But, you know, if it gets that bad, I'm going to pull in somebody's parking lot. Drivers said their most common reasons for turning off or disabling features is that they find them annoying and or distracting, according to John Bloom, who's the vice president of personal auto at Erie Insurance. The survey listed several other reasons drivers disable these features, including lack of control, limited helpfulness, false alarms, lack of trust.
Yeah, well, lack of trust is the thing.
And bad experiences. Yeah. Well, it was supposed to stop. I'm sorry I crashed into the back of your car. It was supposed to happen. I didn't.
Said the Tesla owner.
And drivers are paying a significant amount of money for these safety features. According to Car and Driver, adaptive cruise control systems can cost $1,000 to $4,500 depending on the vehicle. The Erie survey found that 17% of respondents turned off automated emergency braking and 11% turn off forward collision warning.
See, and those two I don't think I would turn off.
I would. Drives me insane. I'm looking. I see the car. Don't brake now because there's somebody riding my tail through this intersection.
That's true.
Drivers also disable lane departure warning. Me. Traffic sign recognition, don't even know about that. Pedestrian detection, nah. Blinds, one less you got to deal with.
Get out of my way.
That's it. Blind spot monitoring, rear track. Now, blind spot monitoring, I got that. That's a good thing. Rear cross traffic alert and backup cameras.
I like that,
I do too. I wouldn't turn those off. Erie Insurance surveyed 500 licensed U.S. drivers over 18 with 2016 to 2020 vehicles. The Pennsylvania company is one of the largest homeowner casualty and automobile insurers in the U.S. Blah, blah, blah. There's that.
Well, it's going to get to the point where some features you're not going to be able to turn off, and that'll end up being some federal regulation because they'll read this report and say, stop turning those things off. It saves lives.
Stop breathing. That'll save a life.
No.
Yeah, no. Sure. Just, I mean, but seriously, I mean, it's too much.
Send your cards and letters to
DonArmstrong.com. But at any rate, anyway, they're annoying.
It's nanny controls. And when you talk about nanny controls, you can go back to the early days of Corvette and Viper battles where the Viper guys had no nanny controls and the Corvettes had all kinds of them.
Nanny controls?
Yeah. Well, look at your Corvette. It's got traction management. It's got
where does the word nanny come from?
Nanny, nanny, boo, boo. No. You got to do that, not me.
No, it's because the nanny's watching over you, making sure you don't hurt yourself. So look at the Corvette. You've got traction management. You've got analog brakes. You've got yaw, skid control.
I like all that. I need that.
You do, but in the early days of the Viper, it had
nothing.
Through the middle life of the Viper, it had none of that. So that's the difference of some people want a vehicle that has some of those controls in them, and some people don't.
Yeah. Well, I caught the car. When I was driving the Viper, when I did a little speed shift from second to third. Woo!
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Loosey-goosey. No.
Didn't matter how big those tires were. That thing had enough power to spin them.
And torque. Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, at any rate, we're almost out of time, believe it or not. It goes by fast when you have a good time, I think. Don't you?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're going to wrap it up. Luckily for all of us, and you too. That's it for today's In Wheel Time Car Show. When you're on Facebook, please give us a like and watch our show over and over and over again. You'll also get Conrad's Unicorn Hunting features along with all things automotive. And while you're online, watch us on YouTube too. Our website is inwheeltime.com. Podcasts of this show available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, iHeart Podcast, TuneIn, Google Podcast, and Podcast Addict. The In Wheel Time chief engineer is the fabulous David Ainsley. Our video technical director and sales queen is Jeffrey Zekin. Special thanks to all of our guests today, especially to Mr. Jim Morrison with Jeep and FCA. From Mike out of this world Mars down there, King Conrad DeLong right there, I'm Don Armstrong. Hey, thank you for following the In Wheel Time Car Show. Tell all your friends about us, please. Have a great week. Stay cool like you know you are. We invite you to our live 4th of July show online next Saturday, 10 a.m. to 12 noon Central on all of your popular social media platforms. We'll see you then, and please keep it sanitary.